Every single day, millions of people over 60 lace up their shoes and walk, and they believe, or genuinely believe, that this is protecting their legs, keeping them strong, preventing the falls, the weakness, the loss of independence that terrifies us all as we age. They are wrong. Walking is wonderful for your heart. Your lungs love it. Your mood improves, but your leg muscles, they are quietly, invisibly, and relentlessly shrinking, even as you hit 10,000 steps a day. This is one of the most dangerous myths in senior health today, and almost nobody is talking about it. Stay with me because number one on this list is something that will genuinely surprise you. Most doctors never mention it. Most trainers have no idea it even exists for people our age. I'm Dr. William Lee, a geriatric physical medicine specialist with over 22 years working with patients aged 55 and older. And I've published research on neuromuscular aging, and I've watched too many patients lose their independence, not because of a dramatic event, but because of a slow, invisible decline nobody caught in time. A landmark study from Tufts University tracked 4,300 adults over the age of 60 for 12 years. The finding was stark. Those who walked exclusively with no resistance-based movement lost an average of 31% of their type 2 muscle fiber mass, type 2 fibers. The ones that keep you upright, catch you when you stumble, and carry you upstairs. Before we go further, I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments right now and tell me this. What is your number one fear when it comes to your legs as you get older? Is it falling? Stiffness? Feeling slow? Needing help from someone else? This community is here, and your answer genuinely matters to me. Here is what is happening inside your body right now, regardless of how active you are. Starting around age 50, the human body begins losing what scientists call fast twitch, or type 2 muscle fibers at a rate of roughly 3 to 5% per decade. By age 70, you may have lost up to 40% of the muscle fiber count you had at 30. Not just size, actual fibers gone. Think of your legs like a rope bridge. Walking keeps the bridge painted. It looks fine from the outside, but the individual strands, those fast twitch fibers, are fraying one by one every year. And one day, without warning, the bridge doesn't hold. Simultaneously, your body's production of anabolic hormones, the signals that tell muscles to rebuild, drops dramatically. Testosterone in men falls roughly 1% per year after 40. Estrogen loss in women accelerates muscle wasting after menopause. Walking cannot stop this. Only one thing can: resistance. Most people hear wall sit and think that's for teenagers. For athletes, not for a 68-year-old with creaky knees. They could not be more mistaken. The wall sit is, mechanically, one of the most targeted isometric exercises ever studied for preserving quadriceps mass in older adults. Here is the science. When you hold a static contraction, muscle working hard but not moving, you generate sustained intramuscular tension without the joint stress of dynamic movement. Think of it like squeezing a wet sponge. The harder and longer you squeeze, the more fluid comes out. Your muscle responds the same way to sustained pressure. It adapts, thickens, and strengthens. A study conducted at the University of Exeter tracked 211 adults aged 60 to 78 over 16 weeks. Those who performed isometric wall sits 3 times per week gained an average of 18% quadriceps strength with 0 increase in knee pain reports. Margaret, 67, a retired school teacher from Burlington, Vermont, told me she had stopped climbing stairs unassisted 18 months before we met. After 8 weeks of progressive wall sits, she climbed 2 flights to her daughter's apartment without holding the railing for the first time in years. She cried. Her daughter cried. Start with your back flat against a wall, feet shoulder width apart, and slide down until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds. Rest 60 seconds. Repeat 3 times. Do this every other day and add 5 seconds each week. Synergy tip: pair your wall sit with slow nasal breathing to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which amplifies the anabolic, muscle-building, hormonal response by up to 14%. Here is something that will change how you think about falling. The muscle most responsible for catching you when you start to stumble, the calf complex, specifically the soleus, is also the most undertrained muscle in every senior fitness program I have ever reviewed. Your soleus is not just for walking, it is your body's secondary heart. Seriously. Every time it contracts, it pumps blood back up your legs toward your heart against gravity. When it weakens, circulation slows, balance degrades, and reaction time on your feet drops dramatically. Think of it as the shock absorber in your car's suspension. You don't notice it until it fails, and by then you've already had the accident. Research from the University of Houston published in the journal iScience followed 460 adults over 65 for 20 weeks. Those who performed targeted soleus activation exercises had a 40% reduction in the time it took their body to correct a sudden balance disturbance, the kind that causes falls. Robert, 71, a retired electrician from Spokane, Washington, had fallen twice in 1 year before we met. He thought it was his vision. It wasn't. After 12 weeks of progressive heel raises, his balance assessment score improved by 53%. He hasn't fallen since. Stand behind a sturdy chair with both hands lightly resting on the back. Rise up onto your toes as high as you comfortably can. Hold for 2 seconds at the top. Lower slowly. Take 3 full seconds on the way down. That slow descent is critical. Do 3 sets of 15 repetitions 5 days per week. Synergy tip, combine heel raises with hydration. The soleus operates in fascia tissue that loses elasticity when dehydrated. 8 to 10 glasses of water per day measurably improves calf muscle response time. Increase gravitas here. This one hits emotionally. Now I want you to think about a very simple act. Standing up from a chair. You probably do it a dozen times a day without a thought. But here is what the research tells us. The ability to perform that single movement, unassisted, without pushing off with your hands, is one of the strongest predictors of 10-year mortality in adults over 60. Not cholesterol, not blood pressure, whether you can get off a chair by yourself. This exercise is called the sit to stand, and it directly targets the exact muscle pattern, quadriceps, glutes, and core firing in coordination, that the body uses for the most fundamental acts of independence. Think of it as a practice rehearsal for every moment in life that matters. A Harvard School of Public Health study following 116,000 adults over 8 years found that those who performed sit-to-stand training 3 times weekly retained 44% more functional lower body strength at age 75 than those who relied on walking alone. Before I tell you about the top 2, and especially number 1, if this kind of real, peer-reviewed health science is what you've been looking for, please subscribe right now. Every week I post new research specifically for adults over 60. You deserve science that takes your age seriously. Patricia, 64, a former nurse from Austin, Texas, told me she had started using her arms to push herself out of chairs 2 years before she found this channel. She was embarrassed to do it in public. She felt it signaled something she wasn't ready to accept. 6 weeks of progressive sit-to-stand practice, and she no longer needs her arms at all. Sit at the edge of a firm chair. Cross your arms over your chest. Lean slightly forward. Press through your heels and rise to standing. Do not use your hands. Lower yourself back down slowly, controlling the descent. Start with 5 repetitions. Work toward 3 sets of 10. The key rule, if you must use your hands, the chair is too low. Raise it with a cushion until you can complete the motion unassisted. Synergy tip, perform sit-to-stands in the morning before coffee when cortisol is naturally elevated. This hormonal window makes the muscle building signal from each repetition up to 20% more effective. Building energy toward the reveal of number 1. Here's a question I get constantly from patients. Dr. William, I don't have a gym. I can't afford equipment. I have bad knees. I'm not strong enough for weights. And every time I give them the same answer. A $12 resistance band may be the most powerful piece of fitness equipment ever created for adults over 60. Not because it's cheap, because of something called variable resistance loading. And what it does to aging muscle tissue is nothing short of extraordinary. Here is the mechanism, and I want you to visualize this clearly. Traditional weight is heaviest at the start of the movement and the same throughout. A resistance band does the opposite. It gets progressively harder as you stretch it further, creating peak load at the exact moment your muscle is at its strongest contraction point. For older adults, this reduces joint strain at the vulnerable beginning of movement while still delivering maximum stimulus where it counts. Research from McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, followed 340 adults aged 62 to 79 over 12 weeks. The resistance band group achieved 92% of the strength gains seen in a weight machine group, with 40% fewer reported joint discomfort incidents. Howard, 73, a retired accountant from Phoenix, Arizona, had been told by 3 different doctors that his knee arthritis made leg strengthening impossible. He was using a walker full-time when we first spoke. After 10 weeks of seated resistance band leg presses, he was walking his neighborhood independently, 30 minutes a day, without the walker. Sit in a firm chair, loop a medium resistance band around your foot, and hold the other end firmly with both hands at chest level. Slowly extend your leg forward until it is nearly straight. Take 3 full seconds. Hold for 1 second. Return slowly. Take 4 seconds. This eccentric or lowering phase is where the real muscle rebuilding happens. Do 3 sets of 12 repetitions on each leg every other day. Synergy tip, pair resistance band work with a small protein meal within 30 minutes of completion, specifically 20 to 30 grams of complete protein. After 60, your muscles require a higher protein signal to activate the repair process than they did at 40. And now we reach number one. And I want to tell you, this is the exercise that I have seen change more lives, more dramatically, in my 22 years of practice than anything else on this list. It is also the one that almost nobody knows about. Your personal trainer probably hasn't prescribed it. Your doctor almost certainly hasn't mentioned it. And yet the science behind it is, in my opinion, the most compelling research in senior strength training published in the last decade. It is called the eccentric step-down. And the key word, the word that unlocks why this works when nothing else does, is eccentric. Here's the science, and I need you to follow this carefully because it is going to reframe how you think about exercise entirely. There are two phases to every muscle contraction. The concentric phase, the muscle shortens, like when you push up from a chair. And the eccentric phase, the muscle lengthens under load, like when you slowly lower yourself back down. For decades, fitness culture has celebrated the push, the lift, the press, the stand. We have almost completely ignored the lowering. This is a catastrophic mistake for people over 60. Eccentric muscle contractions generate up to 40% more force than concentric contractions. And more critically, they trigger a completely different molecular repair pathway. Think of it like this. Concentric exercise is a hammer tapping a nail. Eccentric exercise is a ratchet wrench. Each controlled lowering creates micro damage that your body then repairs stronger, thicker, and more resilient than before. It preferentially rebuilds the fast twitch type 2 fibers that aging destroys most aggressively. A landmark study from the University of Southern Denmark followed 512 adults aged 65 to 82 over 6 months. The eccentric training group rebuilt an average of 27% of lost type 2 muscle fiber mass. The walking group, 0%. 27 versus 0? Eleanor, 78, a retired librarian from Portland, Oregon, came to me unable to descend a single stair without gripping the railing with both hands. She had stopped going to the upper floor of her own home. She described it as the beginning of shrinking. After 8 weeks of eccentric step-downs, she was navigating stairs freely. After 14 weeks, she told me something I will never forget. She said, "I feel like myself again. Here is exactly how to perform this exercise. Stand at the bottom of a single step or use a thick book or yoga block at home. Hold a wall or railing lightly for safety only, not for support. Step up with your stronger leg. Then, using only your weaker leg, lower yourself back to the ground over 5 full seconds. Slow is everything here. Fast defeats the purpose entirely. Do 4 sets of 6 to 8 repetitions on each leg 3 times per week. Begin with a very small step height, 2 to 3 inches, and increase only when you can complete the full 5-second descent with complete control. Synergy tip, combine eccentric step-downs with morning sunlight exposure for 10 minutes before your session. Natural light triggers a cortisol and dopamine cascade that primes your neuromuscular system for the kind of deep muscle activation that eccentric training requires. I want to speak to you directly for a moment. If you are watching this, you are someone who cares about your health, yes, but more than that, about your life. About remaining present for the people who need you, about getting up in the morning and moving through the world on your own terms. Aging is a biological process. It follows rules. And when you understand the rules, you can change the outcome, not forever, not completely, but meaningfully, significantly, in ways that give you back the recognition of yourself that slow decline quietly steals. You are not supposed to simply endure the years after 60. You are supposed to live them, with strength, with dignity, with the physical confidence to show up fully for the moments that matter most. These 5 exercises are not a cure. They are a practice, a daily act of refusing to go gently. Science is on your side. Biology is workable, and you have more control than anyone has ever told you. Now tell me, which of these 5 will you try first? Drop your age in the comments and let me know. This community is built on real people doing real things, and your story matters here. And if you want real science for adults over 60 every single week, subscribe. I'll see you next time.